Welcome to Birds of a Feather, guys. AJ Suburban Princess here, back with another series of 5 questions. This time, I'm totally going at the top of my head with these questions, but this is another one of my quote unquote Twitter fam who I want to get to know, and definitely someone who understands some of the complaints I have about our will not talk about sports team right now. And she's here joining me today in her busy schedule, and I appreciate it. Welcome, Emily. How are you?
I am doing well. How are you?
Good, good. I'm glad to talk to
Thanks
another
for
female
having me.
fan. Yes, absolutely. So, all right, we're going to dig right into it. So, the little that we tweeted back and forth, I understand you're involved in education. So, how long have you been involved in teaching, and what do you teach?
This is actually my 11th year in education. I teach 5th grade. All 11 years have been in 5th grade. I actually teach all subjects. So I teach reading, math, science, and social studies. That's definitely a change for me this year due to COVID. I had been teaching just math and science to a couple different classes each year. But with the lack of being able to switch and move around in school, I now teach everything. So here we are.
That's awesome. Do you teach in PA or NJ or Delaware?
I teach in Delaware, Northern Delaware.
Nice. Okay, cool. And speaking of the subjects, I know I had favorite subjects growing up. In high school, what was the subject that you were strong at?
Oh, absolutely. It was math, 100%. Still is to this day.
Ooh,
Getting me to do anything. Well, I mean, writing was something that I enjoyed to do. I could certainly write my way through anything. But reading, nah. Reading is not my thing.
Well, you're not good at reading comprehension like me, because I never could remember what I read.
It definitely was a difficult subject for me to remember what I read. And now thinking back, if I had known all these strategies that I teach on a regular basis, maybe I would have been a better reader for sure.
Gotcha. Okay, awesome. Now, in this kind of climate where we have social media kind of ruling and kids heavily influenced by it, no matter what age they are these days, because my nieces could teach me a lot of stuff I didn't even know.
Yeah.
Why do you think you can still kind of engage students as a whole? And does teaching help at this point when kids seem so distracted easily, especially myself?
Honestly, for me, first and foremost comes my relationships with my kids. That is something that I dedicate a lot of time and effort into, is getting to know the whole kid, learning what they like to do outside of school. Something as simple as, sharing on a Friday that they have a football game coming up or a soccer game, and just remembering on Monday to ask them how it went. Just building those relationships and that rapport. And to be quite honest, I will straight up tell them there's more to life than the apps on your phone or the apps on your iPad. I will be very honest with them and tell them to stay off of there. They can ignore it. They can take my advice. I'm just honestly, I'm real with them. I allow them to see the real me. I don't hide anything from them, other than obviously if I'm really mad or upset, I do a very good job of keeping that under wraps so that way they're not affected. But I allow them to make mistakes. I allow them to see me make mistakes. I will call myself out if I make a mistake, and we just have great relationships. We have so much fun together that it makes the kids a lot more willing to take risks for me academically. So that's just something that I focus a lot on, is my relationships, and then education will come after that.
Awesome. That sounds cool. I mean, you sound like a very clear, minded teacher. I know for once, I think 6th grade was my only year. I can honestly say I had the best teacher ever. And even seeing him, I think 10 years later, we ended up going back to visit, and Mr. Donnelly remembered me, and I went back and I was like, you're the only teacher I had straight A's with, that whole year. So it's funny how some teachers do have a lasting impact, But and also too, I've noticed every now and then I've seen you tweet your fitness routine. So being that I have been trying to diet, and especially with the quarantine, it's been nearly impossible to stay focused on any kind of daily routine. What drives you to even work out, and why do you like to do it, if you do any?
I started working out on my own. It was probably about 4 years ago. I saw a picture of myself and was like, yikes, get it together. Started working out on my own, and then a couple friends of mine do CrossFit on the regular, and they're like, come on, you got to join us. I was like, no, I am not in the kind of shape for that. I appreciate the offer, but I can't do that.
Mhm.
So more time went by, and then there was like, hey, a free week, you want to try it out? So I was like, yeah, let me go. And I went and we had a great time. I joined in May of 2018 and I've been there ever since.
Mm.
For me, I go mostly for my mental health. It's an hour a day to myself that I enjoy, that gets my mind off of work. It gets my mind off of anything that's weighing me down.
Mhm.
And the community that we have at my gym here in Delaware is top notch. Everybody holds each other accountable. If I don't show up for a couple of days, you know, the coaches are saying, hey, Em, are you all right? Like, where you
Mhm.
been?
Mhm.
So I don't go because I feel like I'm fat or I need to burn so many calories. I go because my friends are there.
Mhm.
We have a blast, and it's just an hour that I dedicate to myself on the regular.
Nice. Are you very disciplined in the sense that you only miss maybe a little, as opposed to, people like myself who go in phases where I'll be real hardcore for one week and then fall off another week? Or are you pretty disciplined?
I'm pretty disciplined. I'm a solid 5 days a week. I give myself Thursdays because that's the day that I stay at work late and get some things done.
Mhm.
And then I give myself Sundays. But other than that, it's a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday for me.
God bless you. God bless you. All right. Well, you know what? It's funny because one of my besties' cousins' name is Emma, and Emma just joined. She just moved to California probably about 5, 6, 7 years ago, maybe more. And she does CrossFit too. And she always puts some videos up there, and I'll be like, "How, Emma? How?" But
Yeah, it's got a bad rap. A lot of people are like, "Oh yeah, CrossFitters can't do anything without posting a video," which is true for a lot of us. But
mhm,
it's mostly the community. It's really hard to find a gym that's small,
mhm,
because my gym it's small in a sense that we don't have a ton of members. We have a
mhm,
large space, but we're all super close, and
mhm.
so that's what makes it for me.
Cool. Okay. And lastly, I just want to ask you, since I've pretty much asked everybody on this series, 2020 has been the year from hell for most of, if not all of us. We've obviously been uncomfortable. And we're probably about to go through another quarantine at this point, which should be old hat at this point. How have you gotten through 2020 as a whole?
I have learned to be flexible over my 11 years in teaching. If you're a teacher or you're an educator or you work in a school, you have to learn to be flexible. I have not always been that way.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I like to know a schedule and I like to be prepared. And like I said, I wanted to know the questions that you were going to
Yeah,
ask me
yeah.
today. That's just how I roll. But like, it's taken me like a solid 8 years to just realize that I gotta go with the flow and I gotta do
Mm-hmm.
the best that I can. Like I just found out last night at 5 p.m. we're going strictly virtual. And
Mm-hmm.
I had just started school last Monday. So I just got into the routine of seeing my kids every day in
Mm-hmm.
person and teaching, loved it. And Sunday night at 5 p.m., you got to switch everything tomorrow. So I had to go to school today, bring everything home, and figure out how I'm going to teach from here. Could I have let it ruin me or my day today? Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
But it is what it is. You just got to be flexible
Gotcha.
and wear a
And
mask.
you're gonna be tearing it up today at the gym then, now that you had that switch.
Oh yeah, girl! I can't wait to get there. I'm like, all right, when's 4:30? You know what I
I know,
mean?
that's why I don't want to keep you, but and also too, does it make you want to have kids more in your life now that you teach? You've been teaching for 11 years. Does it strengthen your love of kids, or do you make you kind of go, not sure?
It's hard to say. I guess you could say it depends on the year that you ask me.
Okay.
Some years are harder than others.
Yes.
I'm undecided on that.
Okay.
If it comes down the road, we'll see. Other than that, I'm content.
I hear you. I hear you. Well, that's all the questions I have for you. So I don't want to keep you too long. If you had anything for me, it's fine. If not, I'm just so glad you did this as a
I just
female
have,
Eagles fan.
yeah,
Go
I just
ahead.
have one for you.
Mm-hmm.
If you could change one thing about the Eagles right this second, one thing, not two
I
things,
know.
can only
I
be
know.
one.
I know. And I saw this question today on 97.5 Mornings. I said I basically would. I need Doug to get offensive coordinator, because I think there's a ego issue between him and Carson, and that's why some
Mhm.
of the play calling is so stupid. Because you can't tell me that all of a sudden now Carson doesn't know how to play, from 2 seasons ago when they came back 4 games in a row in a sloppy season, and then all of a sudden now he doesn't know how to play anymore. Like, there's something, I feel like they did break Carson. Like, something is making him doubt himself, and it's making him, when he does take direction, then he overthinks it. And then I think Doug just doesn't know how to answer questions because he doesn't even know what he's doing. Like it's just everybody's screwed up. And I feel like with
he was pretty sarcastic today in his press conference. I mean, I liked it. I thought it was funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would agree with you. My thing is really driving me nuts is that they're not getting him out of the pocket. And I spoke with Gail yesterday on their 4th and John, they're live. I'm like, guys, what are the chances we're going to see him roll out? And they're like, well, you know, you never know. It could be his downfall. I'm like, it took him till the 3rd quarter to get him out of the pocket.
I was
and
like,
he did well. He did well when he was out there. So I just feel like our coaching staff, I'm going to agree with you. They need an offensive coordinator. They need somebody that's going to play to Carson's strengths because it's obvious that the other guys around him want to play well for him. Yeah. And that's been hard to say for the last couple of years with some of the vets. Right. But these guys that he's got, Fulgham and Goddard and Ward, these guys want it. With him.
Ward, especially. Ward, I notice every time they play with the Giants, they like to push him around a lot. So they be getting him fired up. But you're right. He has weapons this time. So there's no excuse. So now you just go back to, okay, well then what's the strategy? Maybe the strategy isn't working. Because I don't know about you, but I didn't expect them to come out looking totally different. But I thought at least, well, they did run the ball a little more. I'll give them that props. But they went away from it as usual. They go away from it. And then suddenly, where's Boston since he scored? You know, where's Miles? Like, I hate when they do that crap because I'm like, stick with it if it worked.
I will say it makes me so angry when we're finally rolling and we're in the red zone and Miles is running 9-10 yards a pop. And I look over and Corey scored. I will give him that.
I was happy about
that. I was like, why is Corey Clement in this game right now?
Right.
Like, luckily he, made me eat my words very few times that I can do that. But why would you take out Miles who looks fresh? I just,
it's almost like if they get nervous about, and don't give me this that they were tired crap. No, because once you're hype and your adrenaline's up, you gotta go with the hot hand. It's no different from if you would keep going to Fulgham if he keeps catching stuff. And Fulgham was dropping stuff, which was unlike him. You know, Giant players were covering him good. So you're right. I'm like you. I'm just gonna watch they're playing the Browns next. What the hell is gonna happen after this? It just gets worse, in my opinion.
This is the hardest part of the schedule, but you know what they're gonna do? They're gonna do this where they beat the teams that they're not supposed to beat. Yep. They're always known to do that, and then they lose to the teams like the Dolphins last year. Yeah, they lose to the teams that they shouldn't lose to. So we'll see. I mean,
that game was so embarrassing because they thought they were all hot stuff, and then next thing you know, shoo, everything dropped. Yeah,
luckily I had the flu that day, so I was in bed that whole day. Thank goodness.
Yeah, you would have been, because that was a game I was trying to actually think about flying to until like it became one of those things. I'm like, nah, maybe I shouldn't. I'm glad I didn't because I would have been hot as hell. But but I appreciate the fact that you give me some kind of commentary on it, because I know at this point it's very hard to find females outside of, and that's why I've been on Twitter so much.
Yeah.
Finding females outside of the girl I was speaking of, Emma. She was my buddy when she lived here. We used to always do sports, and now it's like, I don't have a community. Where are my people?
I know. And a lot of people don't understand it. You know what I mean? They'll come at you with it's just a football game. I'm like, but I'm not even going to waste my time trying to explain why it's more than that to me. I mean, it's me. That's who I am. So.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm sorry, I'm not one of those people to turn the TV off. As much as I felt like I was going to do it yesterday, I was like, nope, got to go back. Plus, there was no game on the other channel. It was the Masters.
I mean, I flipped the red zone a couple times. Yeah. I have red zone, so I did flip the red zone a couple times because sometimes I'm like superstitious, like, well, hey, maybe if I, turn the channel for a minute, I'll go back and they'll do something well. But every time I went to red zone, they would go to the Eagles game. So it was just like,
you were like, I'm stuck. I have to deal with this. I know. But you're right. I mean,
I know it's like no matter where I go,
no matter. And then the more people that it was funny, the commentators weren't even that great, but they were picking up on the cues that we were just talking about. And once they clue up on it, I just thought, oh, here we go. They're picking up on everything we've been screaming about. They're like, I wonder if you don't do this, then why he wouldn't just go back to that. And I want to be like, Arr! So I just put the TV on mute because I was just like,
I had it on mute before 1:00 because I could tell how it was going to go. So I had Meryl and Mike on. But that wasn't much better.
No, because Meryl was disappointed too. But you're right. Hopefully the coming weeks it'll be better. But I appreciate you though for doing my podcast and Birds of a Feather.
Of course.
this is why I call it birds of a feather, because there are folks out there like me who always want to just vent about our birds and just about life. So I appreciate you, Em, and you get to working for me, girl, because Lord knows I can't do no CrossFit, but God bless
That's
you.
right. I'm headed there right now. Thank you so
All right.
much for asking me.
No problem. Take care, girl. Have a
All
great
right, you
one.
too. Thanks.
Bye.